All right, good to go. Hey guys, welcome to our afternoon dojo here. It might be a little mix of some DMV and a little driver's ed with the story I got to tell that happened this morning. But again, Jacob Crotty, we are greeted today by Penny Saylor and Mr. Stephen Grip over here, just coming really from our recap from this morning and kind of seeing what we're going through, what struggles we're doing, what you might be going through, what you might have questions about. So let me throw it over to Stephen here because he's got quite the victory story from somebody that they showed up here, 4 hours ago?
Yeah.
And they made one phone call. They talked to one person. And guess how many sales they have? They already have two.
Yeah.
A supplemental plan and a Part D prescription plan already taken care of 481. So what I want to do, I want to focus on Grip here for a little bit and just kind of pick his brain from the little bit of the recruitment side of it and say, you know, really this new girl we brought on, her name's Laura. She's going to be a rock star here, but kind of what drew you to Laura? How did you kind of see this within Laura? How did you know that this person was just going to come in from right away, pick up the phone one time and make two sales?
Well, first off, I worked with Laura back in the Go Medigap days when we first started. She was a top agent 4 years ago. And so she, like me, you know, we were absorbed by the corporate entity that is, will not be named. And we also fell victim in different paths, but you know, she went on to do her thing. I'm now here. One of the friends that I worked with, because when you get into a business like this and you come in here, you have all these connections. You know, we all have similar stories. You know, and I'm a pretty friendly guy. You know, I have a lot of stories to tell, and I listen and I hang out with people from the business. So, anyways, a friend of mine recommended Laura to apply here. So I interviewed her, telling her about this place. You know, I knew her capabilities. I knew what she could do here. I also told her, like, look, this isn't a place. It has the remnants of Go Medigap, like the family-oriented, treat the client first. But I also let her know, like, we do have a process here, you know, and you've been doing your own thing for a very long time. And although you will have the freedom, the flexibility to grow as an agent, the reason that you're going to be successful is going to be predicated on the way that we do things here at Medicare Gurus. The script adherence, the mindset that you have to have when entering a conversation. And I feel like instead of her being her way of, you know, I do it my way, I've been successful my way, and it's not a bad way. It's just, okay, yeah, I'm ready to listen to my mentor. I'm ready to understand how you do things here. She gets on the phone, first call comes in, she's like, okay, instead of just panicking and trying to figure it out, she's like, go to what they know. And Frank, the mentor, jumped in and said, do this, do this, do that. 2 sales later, you know, she's on the board. And what's going to be more exciting is she's going to go out there and she's going to be like, guys, it's real. Like, this is the way that they do things over here is legit. And coming from her, who is a renowned agent in the area, it's going to be a great message that, yes, there is going to be a little pittance of luck. You know, you pick up the phone, but there is a reason that when that person got on the phone, and Frank can attest to this, that she closed it as soon as that person started to talk.
Are you talking about Camacho?
Yeah, we're talking about Laura.
Yeah, his first dial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I actually wasn't ready. Usually I'm like, oh, usually I have to leave a couple messages for someone picks up. It's, what? Oh, well, let me have a sip of coffee and start listening to this. She did a great job. The biggest thing we encounter, though, is that so many other people, and we were talking about this a little bit yesterday, and this is a recurring theme for us, is that there's a hyper focus on the product. Like, oh, you need a plan G, you need a plan G. Well, that doesn't mean anything to anybody. And they don't trust you or know you, and they don't know that you know what you're talking about. There's nothing to separate you from any other person that's called them 500 times. So getting the slowdown to happen and go, okay, now read the prepared statement. You're answering questions that'll just be answered through this. Go through A and B, and then tell them that the G plan covers all this. On that one, I just said, hey, We'll go through and I'll do the selector questions and then showing them the recommendation wrapped in a takeaway and following the order book, everything went fine, right? But the key is that it is a different mindset to slow down and instead of start telling people what they need to do, asking people what they need out of life.
Mhm.
You ask them what their life wants to be. You ask them about their needs. You ask them about what they're afraid of, right? And this in particular, this lady has a chronic illness that she's dealing with, and it's an expensive one. Well, that becomes really easy for selector questions. You need to keep your doctor. You have a specialist that you're going to see. You want to keep them? Yeah, okay. And by the way, it doesn't matter what I say next. As long as I'm asking those questions, that's really what matters. Okay, now if you need to go see any other specialist, do you want to go see whoever you want, whoever your doctors recommend? That way you don't have to do that. Do you want to deal with life without paperwork or claims? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, here it is. And by the way, it's less expensive than the group plan you were planning on staying with.
Right.
Let's see if you qualify, right? By the end of it, this lady was going, and literally this is a great problem to have. By the end of it, because she did such a great job, right? And people, oh, it's luck. If you could hear the first part of her conversation, I was actually going to go, up. And this lady was in that complete, I don't want to talk to you mode. How did you get my information mode? She did it great. She goes, hey, listen, I just pulled it up and it said you need help. I don't know how you got it, but here I am. And the lady just started going. And the lady even said she's upset. It didn't faze her at all. She did a fantastic, fantastic job. And I will continue to call her Camacho because it's a badass.
Yeah. And I wanted to piggyback off of that because I did listen to the call. There's a difference, and this can help with new agents coming in. It does not matter who you are on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It only matters how you sound.
That's right.
That's all that matters. And the reason is that she, with her wealth of experience and yet her newness to what we do, she was able to understand that, yes, we did have to apply the way we do things here, but she didn't panic.
No, that's the key. She was calm, collective. She was not sitting there pandering to them or kissing their ass.
Right.
She was polite yet authoritative. She was on their level.
Yep.
And was able to maintain a call farther than most people do with years of experience. Well, she already has years of experience, but that was the key to being into the conversation. Now, granted, this is her first call period, so she didn't have access to the script or know that, and it kind of went a little bit wandering, but she got right back on it and was able to go, okay, she didn't start playing the 20 question game. Right. She really started going through some of the process. And here's the thing. You can sit there and we can critique all we want, but the bottom line is she got that sale.
Mm-hmm.
I might have sat there and asked the health questions and used a good opportunity to show her the preferred way to close and shut down objections. She got it.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it. And then even in the application process, I don't think I've ever seen someone as smoothly and proficiently go through an application their first time.
Mm-hmm.
I had to laugh too because she even brought up the application fee, which you get people who have done this for years or maybe have just started. I don't know why people are so afraid to say, oh, and by the way, there's an extra $20 for your first month.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think out of my years here, I've had one person ever ask me, what does that $20 go to?
Yeah.
And I go, why? Why are you the way you are?
Yeah.
Just what does it matter? It's an application fee to get your policy started, to get the paperwork going, to make sure you are covered by the time your effective date comes.
That's all it is.
And we don't have anything to do with it.
And I go, it's not me. And then I remember it was like, well, you charge me this extra. And I go, I can't even charge you.
Yeah.
That's the company.
It's also the way she said it. It's matter of fact, and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about a benefit and a way it positively impacts someone's life, all this other stuff is no big deal. It is process and procedure. It's like waiting in the line at DMV. You just got to go through it,
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I mean, and she did a fantastic job to the point where this lady was preemptively asking her as I was live listening, going, hey, can you take this out of my account automatically, or do I have to send in a check? So I'd really like you to set up an automatic bank draft. And she's like, absolutely, I can do that. Give me your routing number. And that's it. And that's the amount of trust that she was able to build with these people.
Yeah.
And originally, one of the funnier things is earlier in the conversation, you can kind of hear the husband whispering. You think it might not be on speaker, but it is. And this is one of the things I'll bring up later is ask if there's anyone else that needs to be on the phone list. You can put me on speaker if it's fine because it's social proof. I'm not going to lie to you in front of a bunch of people.
Right.
But he was actually kind of like, he didn't want to speak and mess it up.
Right.
Right. And then she's like, you put me on speaker. Oh, you're already on speaker. Fantastic. Right. And then you actually could hear a sense of like the pensiveness and resistance in that lady she was talking to kind of melt away. She's like, oh, wait, this person isn't afraid of getting caught.
Right.
I don't have to sit there and go, we can have all of this stuff out front right now.
Right.
And then the husband goes, yeah, I'm paying $75 a week. She's like, $75 a week? You know, the lady on the other end was like, $75 a week? Oh my God. Okay. And I'm already having to pay the $170? Yeah. Oh, well, by the time I set out the price, it was just already a foregone conclusion.
Right.
We just needed to do the recommendation.
It's awesome.
And the lady, we got her over to get a Part D. And then she had an issue with that. So she called me back. That's who I was just on the phone with. So that's why I missed the interrupt. So now she's getting enrolled directly with that, with Medicare directly, because I was like, go ahead and take care of that. Did the recommendation and all that good stuff on it. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a great sale, you know.
Yeah, really good.
Here's the thing. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to not screw up enough to break anything. And that's not a high bar. You know, as long as you hit the high points. Yeah, you have company, agency, policy, and price, but realistically speaking, agent itself is what really matters. Policy and price, those are afterthoughts. If they really love you and trust you, they're going to do what you recommend.
That's like Kim's in one right now where I'm kind of glad I caught her because she spaced out. That's what she's actually slacking me right now with questions. So here's a test before we go, because I'm about to walk out there and check on you. She had a gentleman call in from New York who is 66 years old. He is on a group retirement coverage without drug coverage.
Right.
He has his own drug plan along with his retirement coverage.
Through Part D?
Through Part D.
Uh-huh.
He's paying $600 for it. He doesn't have a deductible. He's 66 years old in perfect health. So I message her right away and I go, look, New York is open enrollment year round, because she was going into like the Advantage plan round and stuff like that. And I go, New York is open enrollment around, so it doesn't matter for health. So I was like, look, we need to look at mutual. We need to look at AARP and see which one is most competitive, or one that's open enrollment, and go from there. And then I did okay, perfect. You know, first check AARP because they're going to be a little bit lower. If not, mutual is there. I know that's under $500 in New York. But two, I said, you know, we are not disclosing any type of price right now, because when you do that, if you can automatically go, oh yeah, it's going to be, well, you're paying $600. Would you like to pay $276? Everybody's going to go, yeah, I would. Well, at the end of it, when you go, okay, well, what about your final expense policy?
Mm-hmm.
What about a dental policy that you might have had on that plan that we need to replace? That's an extra $40. No, I'm good. $276 is fine with me. So that's what I'm testing you here. If you come back and watch this, I got read receipts that said, do not disclose any of that yet. We need to find out first what route we need to take with him, which company.
And by the way, remember the last conversation we had where it's different. Sometimes it's hard to break someone of, like, you're saving $300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
They go, it must not be as good as what I have.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you can fold in that final expense and say, you know, you have to delineate that they are separate policies, but if I can increase your overall coverage, and you're going to get all of this covered, this covered, this covered, this covered, and it's going to provide you $15,000 of final expense coverage that does this, this, and this, and the grand total of that price is $100 less than what you're spending.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easier pill for some people to swallow than $300 in savings or $200 in savings.
That kind of ties into what we were talking about yesterday in here with saving face and
saving face. Well, this is the other thing that I ended up doing with this lady, because she was a little bit offensive about it. And one of the ways you save face of people, and this is a lesson from that call, is she had thrown away all of her Medicare and You handbook, Guide to Medicare Buyer's Guide, all this stuff. She's like, I was just confused after a And I was like, well, Okay, I can completely understand why it's 135 pages and it's confusing and
Yeah.
doesn't help.
Right.
That's why we're here. But yeah, this is all the stuff that we've gone over is in that. I can get another one sent to you, or you can just call me. That's the whole key.
Yeah.
But this is what it does. It does this, does this, does this, and it's a grand total of X. The only other thing that you can look at too is, I mean, realistically, one of the things we want to always do, and this goes out to people that are trying to bring up new agents, don't overcoach. There's always going to be multiple things someone can work on inside of a presentation. Number one is deflating, especially when someone made a sale. Make a sale, high five, you did it, great. But at the same time, only focus on one thing you need to improve on. The great thing about this conversation is that usually the first thing that you need to improve on is the first 5 seconds of the sale because they get hung up on.
Right.
This one went so great and she was
Yeah,
so
that's
powerful
awesome.
in it. I was like, hell, man.
Brandon's
So
on
sit
the
down.
Brandon's on the speakerphone right here for you guys.
Oh, nice.
Oh, excellent.
I
So,
just want to say that, I know that this is a historical moment because Medicare Gurus Dojo is going to become the industry standard. It's going to become like what Joe Rogan is to podcasting. Medicare Gurus Dojo is going to become the new standard for how insurance agents communicate and all that. So I am just proud to have this historical moment where I'm the first ever call-in person on the Medicare Gurus Dojo. So
Welcome.
you should do call-ins. That'd be great to do call-ins.
Yeah.
Just real high tech. Like what do you do? Put the cell phone by the speaker?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. No, I've been watching you guys, man. You guys it's great stuff. I just wanted to add, to what Jacob was saying a minute ago, that the salesperson has to make the decision. It's in our lining, but for the people out there watching, the first decision that's made is the salesperson. The salesperson decides what route he's going to go or she's going to go, and that's after full discovery, exactly what you're going to offer them, and then the rest of this becomes an orientation into that package of product or package of products. And that's just right in the system. It's exactly what Jacob was saying, but I want to add that in, and I'm just using that as an excuse to be the first ever call.
Congratulations. Well done.
Excellent, man. So, did you hear the good news?
I heard y'all talking about Laura, one call, 2 sales.
Yeah.
First dial.
If I were her, I would quit right now. She has a record for
100% attempted close rate.
She has a 200% done out to sell ratio. Just quit, walk out. She'll have the world record forever.
Right. Yeah. I was like, and it caught me off guard. I was like, wait, you're not leaving me with? Oh, okay. Well, we'll see how this goes. Oh, you're still with? Oh, wow. Okay. Might want to log into my system here real quick.
Catch up.
It was right there, man. It was great. So that also goes to what we were talking about earlier, where too often in training, we think we have to have these elaborate classes and all this other stuff. All that stuff doesn't last a second once someone picks up the phone. So you might as well get your agents on the phone as quickly as possible, and then just do your job as a mentor and sit next to them and be ready.
So Brandon, you would be pretty impressed because when she came in this morning, Frank was getting set up, moving his desk, and it was exactly how you wanted it. She came in, there was no training. We got her logged in. We got her bookmark set up. I told her how to punch in. I told her how to make a call, and then she was off and running. That was it. And then the first call she had was exactly what Frank said.
First dial.
It was so crazy.
It was awesome.
Well, yeah, that is great. It's the biggest breakthrough I think I ever had in sales training was to just, for the people who are watching, we decided earlier this year, throw all the sales training out, get them on the phone within 5 minutes. And either they're making calls or they're jacked in with someone who's making calls. But and this actually goes along with a video I just did this morning that I'm putting out. I was on I was at this conference in LA a couple weeks ago, and John Wetmore, this guy writes over $100 million. His agency writes over $100 million in life insurance per year. And he's like one of these guys, like you walk into a room and everyone's trying to be something, and like he is something, and everyone else trying to be something. You know what I mean? He's one of these guys, and he said the most profound thing on this stage there, and it was exactly this. It ties right in. It's that everyone's going out looking for a magical skill set. And they're searching the world for someone that needs tip or trick and all that. And he said, the main thing is to get on the phone and do the dials and manage your time. And he said it better than I did, but if you go in there and you do it and you do it and you do it over and over and over, soon enough, that magical skill set you've been looking for will just suddenly appear because you have the reps.
That's it.
And and then I'll add to it that, you don't have any mental framework with where to put all this training and coaching you have if you're not getting the reps every day.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing to do is jump in the pool, start flapping your arms, try to figure out how to swim. And then after you have the reps, you can talk about it. But most people look for inspiration before they do the work. And if you do the work, then the inspiration and the talk, you have some kind of context and mental framework to be able to handle that discussion. So
Yeah. And I want to add on to that. I think that works well with us because when you say something like that, that could be very scary for new agents and it can be very intimidating. But I think it works because you have those reps going on with the understanding that there is going to be someone supporting you and helping you. And understanding that when you jump in the pool, that yes, we do have a buoy, but you're going to learn how to swim. And if the buoy needs to be thrown, we'll throw it. But just know that buoy will be there. And I think that's what helps a lot of our agents coming in is that they think traditionally they need to have this 2-week training. Because every time I'm in recruiting right now, everyone asks, like, what's your training program like? I'm like, you come in, you get on the phone. And they're like, they're very taken aback by that. But then I say, well, basically how it works is don't you want to make money? You're going to hop on the phone. You're going to get your reps in. You're going to have your mentor looking out for you for scope or whatever needs to be done. But there's going to be support there, but they're going to watch you do your thing. And that's what's very exciting, especially what happened today, because Laura she did need some help, but in the essence, she was able to figure out how to do it. There he is. Yeah.
He's hiding behind whatever. Oh, you gotta unlock the door.
Y'all lock me out.
Right. Well, here's the other thing with that too.
I guess Dick.
Yes.
If you're running an agency, right? If you're running an agency, you're running a sales floor, and this is where a lot of that old preemptive training comes from, which really doesn't help, is because they're so worried about having an expense. So they look at their leads like a commodity that needs to be like hoarded. Whereas we go, no, we know, and we have set up these systems here to where we are investing in this.
It's utilitarian.
It's utilitarian.
Yes.
A lead is a tool to get into a conversation.
Yes.
So we already made that investment. Go get your reps. I have far more upside on you as an individual if you get to this really fast.
Yeah.
We know you're going to screw up. It's okay to screw up. That's how you learn.
Mm.
So let's go ahead and go through this. Sending you through a class and hoping that you'll be better for it isn't going to work. We tried it. Lord knows we tried it.
Yeah.
Get on the phone. You will get better 100 times faster. And that's what we really need. I don't need you making money 6 months from now. We need you making money now.
Right.
So that's it, right?
Yeah.
We will spend the money.
It was a big breakthrough in that, because what happens is people get information overload, but and they don't have context to put in. So here's all the things about Medicare. Here's all our sales techniques and sales techniques and script training and all that. Unless you're doing it, it's just not integrating at all.
Right.
But the other thing is, the biggest thing about being a sales team is getting on the phone. That habit of getting on the phone, walking in first thing in the morning, no distractions, get on the phone, jump in the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's your first day at work, then that context comes out. Because if you put people in classrooms, and what happens is you're in a classroom, you're studying, you're talking, you're in your head, you go get coffee a lot, you learn about the break room, you learn how to kind of waste a little time and all that. But here, boom, we're on the phone, we're in conversations. I don't work with you, I work with my customer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're here to help.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're all here to help, and that's a really great feeling on the floor, is whoever is closest, if they can help, they'll help.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you ask, but everybody's here to help each other, and that's, I think, really good. That's a really nice thing.
Well, you had a good analogy earlier. You got to jump in the pool and start swimming, right? Are there any books, like I don't know if there are any books about like that are just like textbooks on how to swim?
Sure.
There was,
Right.
I used to
Undertone.
teach swim
Undertone,
lessons for all ages.
Okay,
Oh,
And surprisingly, there are books,
Right.
but no one reads them.
exactly. So how did you teach people to swim?
Oh, we hopped right in the pool.
Hop right in the pool.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned.
From six, I taught 6 months old because I lived in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And great, summer money when I was a teacher was just teaching swim lessons. It's
Mhm.
great money. So I taught 6-month-olds and I taught adults how to swim.
Right.
And guess what? They all did the same thing.
All did the same thing. And the first thing is getting in the water.
Yeah.
And you might have a little board under you for support, or you might be guiding them along as they do that. You
Yeah.
eventually lower your hands and they're just going
Right.
by themselves, but they are swimming.
And the cool thing
but
to that,
can I stretch the analogy a little further? Like they're just now learning. When I had my daughter, I didn't know this. So when she's like 2, I started asking when should we have swim lessons? Like at 2 weeks.
yeah,
At 2 weeks, because we're born with an inherent ability to swim.
yes,
Because we're used to floating in the womb and all
Right,
this.
right.
And we're used to that buoyancy and float. So they say, as soon as the kid's born, get them in the pool and swim.
Yeah.
They're used to being in the water.
Yeah.
So to try to stretch the analogy,
Yeah.
as soon as the agent is born, get them on the phone.
Right.
Because they have an inherent ability to talk to people.
Yeah.
This is working. They have an inherent ability to talk to people and have conversations with people and all that. If you don't load them up with 10 pages of techniques and all the Medicare training and compliance stuff and all that, like, whoa, we can handle that.
Yeah.
Talk to people.
Right.
You can talk to
Yeah.
people,
Because
right?
we were just talking about cap and stuff, and it's like, well, the one thing you have to do before
Boss
they'll
is back.
even listen about cap.
Boy, do I have a lesson for y'all here. Y'all ready for this?
We have baby
Oh, yeah.
analogies.
yeah.
Yeah, we were doing.
Let's finish this and then we'll hear this.
Okay, go ahead.
So, but the one thing that you have to do before they'll even listen to you about company, agent, policy, or price, before they'll trust you on anything, is build rapport.
Mhm.
So that's not something that you sit there and go, okay, well, here's a textbook on how to build rapport. Sorry, you just have to talk to people and listen to them.
Yeah, and just to finalize this swimming analogy, because teaching people how to swim is a very unique experience. But what I like to go back to Penny is that using your personal experience here, your swim ability, you came in, you're learning, and you're at your own pace, and then when you're like, okay, I got it.
Yeah,
It was Penny's trajectory.
yeah.
And that's what's cool about it is that we have every way to have your own trajectory.
Yeah.
Laura Camacho, she comes in, she's been doing it for a while. She might jump in the pool, swim right away. Penny comes in, she's dipping her toe in the water, she's checking the temperature, she's kind of feeling things out. And she's like, okay, I got it. Now you're leading the pack with swimming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why I like it is that, yes, you're going to get on the phone. Some people may figure it out. Some people may swim right away. But in the end, because we got them on right away, you're going to start swimming.
And I'll finish with this. And those books are super valuable about all the biomechanics and physics of swimming and all that. And the person who needs to read those are the coaches.
Right.
The coaches can read that and take a good swimmer and make them great.
Right.
After the core basics are developed and then learn a little technique and all that. But if you try to overwhelm the new swimmer with the book
Yeah.
on the biomechanics, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So good analogy. What's up, man?
Well, somebody just learned a very hard lesson.
Uh-oh. What we get?
That was bless Miss Kimberly's heart here. So the guy who was paying $600 for his work coverage, right, a month, that was his IRMA rate up.
Oh, his IRMA rate up.
He makes between $170,000 to $500,000. So he was writing a check to Medicare for $544. So we go, what else is this $85 here? Again, very healthy, no medications. He's enrolled in an $85 drug plan.
Okay.
So he's paying $620 something, and his work coverage cost him $0.
But he doesn't have his work coverage is his drug plan?
No,
his
his
medical.
drug coverage is separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just has his medical through
So his
his
retiree
employer.
benefit is $0 for his medical. That has no drug coverage, and he has a Part D.
Mm-hmm. And he's a Part D, and he's enrolled in Part B of Medicare, paying $544 a month.
Okay. So how does his current retiree plan look? Is it a secondary payer, primary payer? Is there any co-pays, deductibles? Is there any network?
Remember,
usage?
we're talking about New York here, so you're looking at $1,000 out the month, and he's healthy and paying $0 for it.
$1,000 what a month.
When we talk about premiums, IRMA rate ups,
But you're
Part-
also talking about someone that's making
Part
between
D premiums.
$150,000 and $500,000 a year.
which those people love their zeros.
Yeah, I've actually had a lot better options of telling them
Mhm.
because you're not going to tell me that I have to go through any hoops. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a matter of you got to have a discussion with the individual about what they want and then bring up things that might be things they want to avoid.
Mhm. Well, he didn't even know if he could leave his coverage either. He's still working too. So it was one, but it's something where there are times where people think that they're saying the correct thing, the people that we talk to, but you just have to dig even deeper and ask, because we went through a whole A and B presentation, everything like that, with the precedent of, my God, you're paying $600 for work coverage. That probably has a $7,000 deductible. In the state of New York, at least we have Mutual of Omaha bare minimum for $487 a month.
Mm.
Yeah,
What about ARP? Isn't that a lot less expensive?
I'll talk to you about it after.
Okay.
But Mutual of Omaha at $487, and okay, we've got some wiggle room here for it. Well, it never occurred to ask about the IRMA rate up or how much you're paying for Medicare. And so when I hopped on, I go, all right, so right now you're paying $600 some odd dollars for an Emerald work plan. And he goes, no, I'm not paying for my Emerald. And I go, then what are you paying? He goes, Medicare. I go, how much do you make? I was like, it's got to be pretty good then, huh? And he goes, oh, I do okay. And I was like, better than 170? And he goes, yeah. And I go, worse than 500? And he goes, well, yeah. I go, well, there's $540 of it. And then looked up in Mark's, and he had the drug plan, and with the rate up, it's $85 for him. And it's just one that to where sometimes, again, you just get so blindsided by saving people money that you don't take the time to stop and smell the roses and actually realize what situation is going on. We had similar one today here too with somebody else. We were talking to a guy that was a DSNP candidate, and he was going in for daily treatments. I forgot what it was, but it was daily. He was on Medicaid, so he's being covered with his current plan. They took United Healthcare. The only other company they took was WellCare, but for some reason, a Humana plan was brought up that was out of network. And I go, look, I'm not touching this if this says out of network. Before we even do anything, you need to call and see if they even take Humana. Because again, he's going to the doctor daily. He's using his transportation daily. You're doing all of this every day of the week. You better call before we have that. And then come August 2nd, we get the call. Why the hell isn't this working? Why do I have to pay this money that I don't have because I'm a full benefit person? Turns out they don't take Humana at all.
Even on a PPO, they're just
Even-
not going to mess with
Nope,
it.
because they bill out of network and Medicaid won't pay for it.
There you go.
So it is always this is for everybody out there. Everybody out there, just because they say something, they might not know what they're saying. And just because you say something, you might not know what you're saying. How things works. In this realm, you have to be very careful. You have to be very thoughtful. But you have to care enough to ask those questions.
Well, and it goes to how are you going to make the decision? And this is the problem: is it's almost impossible to backtrack and go during a different course.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have been talking to that guy the entire time about the increased benefits of getting a supplement, and he might have been okay with that. But that's a conversation that's now missed because we just went on to savings, and then the savings evaporated. Now we haven't spent an hour building
Just
up
like with
guy.
the DSNP plan, if you say, man, this Humana plan looks great, it's got this over-the-counter benefit, Medicaid's still paying for everything, you ain't got to worry about it. The second you call that doctor's office and that's what you're recommending, and they say, oh, yeah, we don't take that.
Yeah.
You're not coming back from it.
No.
You're done. Sale's over.
So what do you do?
Relationship is over.
What do you do in that situation, or how do you avoid that situation?
You don't, this is what I said earlier, you don't have a certain path that you only go down and pick one thing and focus on that one thing. That's what I said yesterday. Nobody cares about $500 more in dental. Nobody cares about $75 extra every quarter for a food card. What they care about is, if I have Medicaid and I have to go get treatment, do I have to pay for it? That is number one on the list. So you don't, if you suck yourself, like you said, if we're having a supplemental conversation and all you want to talk about is savings and that's it, that person more than likely is not going to do anything on the phone with you because they do not see you as a human who is trying to learn their situation and better their situation. They see you as, I can't apply for this myself. I have to have somebody's name on it, so might as well call you. Have somebody else do with it. So really the way to avoid that is you can't go in with a preconceived notion from the very beginning. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna get you.
You have to have a sales funnel, not a sales row.
Yeah.
You got to start off really wide and eventually get down into it. But you can't immediately go, I'm going to get them supplement plan G. It's going to be from this company right away. Yeah, you kind of know it, but you still have to start off real
I
raw.
wish I remember who said it. It was prescription without diagnosis is malpractice in any profession.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a real good one.
And I think a lot of people come in trying to prescribe. They know what medicine they're going to prescribe. And I'm talking about doctors. They come in, no matter what you have, I'm prescribing this thing because the drug rep was here this morning and bought my assistant some donuts.
Yeah.
No, I digress. But that's it. You can determine that one path that you're going to recommend only after you've done a thorough discovery, after you've asked all the right questions, like you're saying. And then you can kind of go down this path.
Right.
But you got to kind of hedge your bets in there too if you don't know something, right? Like, it looks like this is the right thing for you if everything you're telling me is correct. But you don't say this is better and everything else is terrible.
Yeah.
But the main point is that you take the time to diagnose their situation, and that you do that, they understand that. What's the other cliche? No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
Right? They feel that you care about them enough to take the time to try to find the right thing, and they don't feel like you're trying to sell something. You made sure that you're looking at all the situations for them. You're taking the time to know their exact situation, and now you can prescribe.
And then they'll also disclose the other things that you need to know voluntarily too. One of the things I would bring up,
That's big.
and one of the things that I also bring up is like, I would like to post this in SureLink. A lot of agents out there don't know how to find IRMA rates. So I'll go ahead and post that in SureLink. For those of you out there, if you don't know what InsureLink is, it is a resource for agents.
Or what IRMA is.
Oh, what IRMA, yeah, the earned income, yeah. So we'll go through and we'll start posting some of these resources. And
Irma
tools.
is that hurricane that hit my house in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah. Well, Irma's a hurricane that just hit this guy's pocketbook. So
Too soon. Something else happened this morning.
Oh yeah, your personal.
I don't want to talk about it.
Moving on.
Let's just say the dog's at the vet and nobody in the cul-de-sac has internet because it got ran over. So
nice.
not by me.
Way to start a Wednesday.
To flip it back, what I want to say is I used that yesterday with a referral.
Right.
Because I had a guy that I have been working with his wife now for 3 years or so. But it was funny because I would always ask, is anybody in the house there with you? Anything like that. She was like, no. Well, I guess he finally turned from boyfriend to husband. Okay. And so she called me a few weeks back. She was like, hey, I have a referral for you. I was like, okay, perfect. Yeah, just tell him, give me a call here. Be here to help him out. And went through the whole thing. And I think it was Chris that made the account. And I had to laugh. And I was like, oh, so how do you know Clarine? He goes, well, we sleep in the same bed. I go, oh, because it says friend here. They didn't put like spouse, boyfriend, whatever it is. Like, okay,
We
whatever.
don't have
But
friends with benefits as a selector, but
but for him, he was one of those guys where
Tell IT.
he knew, yeah.
with benefits as the drop down side. Cuddle buddy.
We need to get a ruling on if that applies for household discount or not.
Some states
Something they do. You just gotta have them for a year. But he knew that, okay, look, she has this Aetna Plan G that works really good. It's priced really well for her. She's had it for 3 years now. It's been terrific. It's still the lowest thing out there. And he goes, I really want what she has. He was just on A and B. He was 70, 79. He hadn't had anything, but he goes, I think it's just about time. I need to do it. And, going through kind of the funnel to see, okay, let's see where we can put you. He was like, I have had bypass about 4 years ago. I said, okay, has everything been stable? Are you okay? Most companies, it's a 2-3 year question. We'll just have to see how the cards lie. But I could tell in the very end, he really wanted to be with Aetna.
Mm-hmm.
and be on the same company. But in my head, I know that's going to be a whole lot trickier than just saying, oh, let's go through health questions and just see. It's going to be real hard to get him through.
Mhm.
And so I said, look, I know you want to be with Aetna. It might not be the best one, but we can see. Let's at least go and start the Aetna questions and just see if anything comes up. All in the meantime, I know Mutual of Omaha underwriting is 2 years, good to go.
Mhm.
And that was 4 years ago. So I already know I have plan B. But we get to the third question in the Aetna, and he's like, I just don't feel good answering no to that. That's when I said, that is A-okay. That's A-okay.
That's why you got a guru.
We looked at what you wanted. I try to keep couples on the same company as much as possible. Sometimes you can't. But, that was the conversation we had. Look, you might not have the same company. You're going to still have the exact same plan. But believe me, I know a place that's only a 2-year question. This was 4 years ago. It's not a lifetime like Aetna. We're not going to have any issues. And got him over to Mutual, already approved this morning in underwriting.
And too many agents out there will try to shortcut that process. Go, no, I know it won't happen. I know it won't happen by just going that extra step. Fine, let's ask the health questions.
Mhm.
And he goes, oh, no.
So
What else do I need to do?
So that's a demonstration of that's one of the biggest things is we're trained and we can walk in a situation, know how it's going to play out within a minute or two.
Mhm.
But selling is taking them through that 50 stage process your mind went through real quick,
Mhm.
demonstrating that to them. And that's what you were able to do.
Mhm.
You knew where it was going to go. You knew he wasn't going to get that.
It's
But he had a feeling, and so you had to take him through that experience of this is not going to work instead of because I said it's not going to work, and I'm the expert. Trust me.
Right.
You go through that experience, then you realize it. You already. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I used to have to do that. Let me when I was doing face-to-face sales, is I literally, I had several companies. I pretty much walked in. I mean, we're in the Lufkin, Texas area, so we had like 3 or 4 companies. And when I walked in, I knew what the best plan was for them. But I realized my sales process went way better when I pulled out an outline of coverage, went down, wrote it down on a piece of paper, pulled out another one. Let me see the other one, and I'd write it down. And I would do all those things. And then they really saw, and not me just saying I looked at everything.
Mhm.
But they saw me go through that process of getting multiple quotes. So I had to demonstrate that quick thing for me. And the people who are trying to rush through the sale and not waste their time, most of that comes from just nervousness, by the way. They're have a little social anxiety or whatever. They want to get through it as fast as possible. But they're not able to do that. And what you're doing is I'm trying to highlight it because that's such a profound thing that you did. And taking what you could do in 2 seconds and taking 5 minutes or more to take him through that. In the end, whether, and it's also recognizing the emotional connection this person had with something that doesn't matter.
Mhm.
In the end, someone will pay a little bit more to have the same big company somewhere far off that their spouse has. But it's just a different logo on the card in your wallet.
That's right.
And a different name right beside the direct deposit or the withdrawal. It's just a different name beside that and that line item on your bank account. Other than that, it's exactly the same experience for someone, except this number's going to be a little smaller now too, right? But you can sit here and talk to him and tell him how stupid he is, or you can say, "Hey, I understand. Let's walk through the process." Well, here's a real thing that keeps us from doing it.
Yeah.
And
That's very profound.
That turns his obstacle where he has an obstacle getting underwritten, but really that turns you into an asset to get around it and to get something solved. Really cool.
That's what even I did with John yesterday on the one that I was helping him with, to where it was, I might have said this yesterday, but it was a short run. I think we might have done it after too, but it was one where the lady was on just Medicare or Medicaid. She had no plan. I think she was like 42, 43 or so. So, she can enroll in a D-SNP. She was full benefits anyway. But she had never been exposed to what Advantage plans do in conjunction with Medicaid. So when he brought me on, it was all, hey, I'm leaning towards this plan from what I can see. I'm looking at this, looking at that. When I started the conversation, I go, look, this is scary for you because you've never had this conversation. This is a whole brand new world because you only know this. You don't know this can help you with this. So my job is to make it as less scary as possible. First off, you are not going to lose any bit of your Medicaid. Nothing changes in this conversation at all. Nothing changes. And so from there, it was going through what exactly. That's what it is. It goes, who? Because that's what people are worried about, because that's all they know is that Medicaid is paying for me because I have Medicaid and Medicare. That's all I have. They're paying for everything I do. But it was one where we walked through every benefit with her. I was probably on for like an hour, hour and a half with her. But it was every benefit. By like 30 minutes through, she goes, all right, I want it. And I go, I'm not done yet. I still got more to tell you. She goes, oh, okay. And so 20 minutes later again, like, okay, how can I sign up? And I go, we're not at that point yet. Don't worry about it. We're getting there, but I just want to make sure you have all the information that you have before we make a very informed decision, before I make a decision of referring this to you. I want us to go line by line through everything here, hold each other's hands, and go through it before we go,
There's
okay.
salespeople, everyone watching this now and in the future going, don't, you got to take the order when you get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, then those are the guys that also, when it comes to, okay, so what's your routing number? Oh, I don't want to buy right now. So, I mean, what do you want?
Yeah,
You know?
Right.
but him saying they're asking to buy, and I held it off to keep doing
Right.
a little bit better job and make sure that was solidified.
Mhm.
It's like the guy who can get a kiss early in the night and he waits till the end of the night
That's right.
on a date. Like why go right away? Solidify that. Have the good time, right?
Well, and educating them is the big thing, so they know they picked the right thing.
Mhm.
So they know
Mhm.
this is it for me, because,
Yeah.
and I know why I picked this plan, so that they feel some ownership about their decision.
Because you know, later on, they are gonna have a question about things that they said they didn't need to hear.
Mhm.
Right,
Well, but
Right.
one other thing that I just wanted on to that part is that you're not just trying to sell them a plan, you're trying to build a lifelong client.
Mhm.
Because now she's going to enter a world where she's going to get bombarded with information she doesn't know anything about. She's probably going to be told you can change this plan every 2 months. But guess what she's going to do now? As soon as it comes up, she's going to come to you. She's going to be like, hey, because now I have a lifelong client because you spend the time.
Also, you got to keep in mind the context in which Jacob's doing this. He's a mentor, and he has a new guy that's sending him over a client, and the new guy is saying, I think it's going to be this, this, this. And Jacob goes, hold on. Now I'm going to do a teaching exercise. Now we're going to do all this other stuff here in this call to guarantee that we're going to get the sale. And also I'm going to be teaching this guy as I do it.
Right.
So he's taking extra care and going through these extra steps because he's also demonstrating, hey, she ain't going to hang up on me. Right.
Mhm.
You know, all these other things on here to see where you can push it and where you can take it, where you should take it to make sure it's shored up. That's the whole thing, is that too many people, and this happens, everyone here does it when one part of their career. This is why we have slumps, because you start shortcutting a process and then you shortcut the wrong thing and you're not making any sales. And you go, why am I not making sales? And then you turn around and you're like, it must be the leads. No, not the leads. Other people are selling out of them. You know, what did you start cutting out? What did you shortcut?
Remember what we used to call that? We kind of lost the terminology. When someone says, I want to buy your product right now, please sell it to me. Fool's gold.
Fool's gold. Yeah.
Don't take the fool's gold.
Oh, I used to love it. Yeah, I want to buy that Mutual of Omaha Plan G for $109. Okay, I'll sign you up right now. And then like, no, I'm not willing to give you my
Yeah,
information.
send me the information. Send me the brochure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Well,
fool's gold.
But it was always people like, you know, I learned how to do it, but Jack Adams was really, really good at going, well, hold on now.
Right.
Why do you want it? And, well, I just heard it was a good thing. My neighbor's like, okay, is your neighbor a Medicare specialist? No? Okay. Well, I am, so let's go and walk through this. Let's figure out what you want to use it for.
Well, and that's the thing, to think that a sale is there because they say it's there, they want it done. You have to have a way that you sell this.
Mhm.
And one of the first agent Dad and I ever hired, trained, he had a reputation for being an a-hole everywhere in the world, but I learned one valuable thing for him. He was selling 300 policies a year when that was unheard of.
Mhm.
And he was a pretty good salesman, but he had one thing he did. Someone come in and start talking to him and go, ma'am, we've been doing this a long time. I have a way to do this. You just write down any question you have. When I'm done, I'll answer them then, okay?
Mhm.
And no matter what, he just would do that and he'd go through his thing and he made a sale like almost probably 80% of the time.
Well,
Because he did that because there's a way I know that if I do these things, you'll get a lifelong client. So you're in my world now. And to do a good service to you and to not take the fool's gold, we're going to go through this whole thing because I know better that this is going to be a sale. And even if it is a sale, it's going to be a quick, bad relationship. You're going to buy from the next person anyway.
Yeah.
Grit, you are looking really good.
Costume change.
You look way better than you did a minute ago.
There's also that
I
concept.
must have said something profound.
And by the way, when we say 300 policies a year back when that was good, face-to-face sales, we've got to give context on that.
Mhm.
Face-to-face sales, going out to locations, getting stood up and all those other things. 300 sales nowadays is still doing good when you're going to location and you're doing outside sales like that.
Yeah,
There's only
you're lucky to
260.
get two presentations a day in if you did a good job.
So think about this. There's only 260 work days in a year.
Right.
He's selling more than one a day. Out there, I can tell you right now, half the people watching this would give their right arm to be able to do that in a year. And this was occurring
1998.
1990. Wow. Oh, God, we are old.
Speak for
but
yourself.
1998 to 2001 to when we were.
So, I mean, and just to think, that's some of the things that you go, oh, what's new and what's innovative? What's all this? Well, realistically speaking, a lot of the stuff.
RW, if you're out there, man,
Right.
all's well.
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically speaking, a lot of it is not like discovering new stuff. It's rediscovering what's already been done and already lost. And that's the big thing about it. Everyone out there is trying to innovate so much, and they're losing track of what really actually works. I mean, human interaction has been around for a long time. They haven't really changed. Human brain hasn't really changed in about 400,000 years. We've been selling stuff in between. You know, we figured it out. And
Now, it's about 300,000 years ago. I remember like there was a shift.
yes,
Yeah.
it was a Tuesday.
I'm old and I remember before
You look good
computers.
too.
And we were interacting then.
Yeah, there was a small shift.
But I mean, that's the thing is that,
History always gets that wrong.
but you know, doing the things the right way and telling people that you're going to do things the right way really matters. It really does. But everyone, I think right now we're in this society where everyone wants to try to make things so easy for a client that they've lost it. The transaction itself has lost all value. And
It's the big trying to mass produce incompetence.
it really is.
Y'all are new? Come on in. Tell us some good stuff. Y'all
It's
just got in
just
here.
dialing in the way to speak to someone and make right. You're going back to basics and yes, tweaking things here and there, but not losing sight of what really works and being straightforward and honest with people and shoot them straight. I think as long as you don't deviate too much from that, people will respond to it positively every time.
How simple is that though? Like some people on the internet, they're looking for the trick, they're looking for the gimmick, they're looking for those things. Like there are tricks, there are gimmicks, there are things, but it's only after you do the right things consistently, treat people right, show up for work on time. It's the basics, right? You do those things consistently over and over. And then, yeah, there are those little tricks that, will help. I mean, I went from a 40 to 90% closing ratio in 1 month because of one mindset switch I did.
But that's not a trick though. That's not a gimmick.
That's a mindset switch.
It's a mindset switch, which is a foundational change in the way you operate.
Right.
And that's the problem is that people think that it's as easy as a gimmick and it's not.
Yeah, it's not the thing you say or the tweak, it's who you become.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that lesson and I had to apply that lesson myself. It's going to happen right now. It's not going to happen ever. I'm going to be able to walk away from this because I couldn't close it.
I think with that too, it kind of goes back to what I've been kind of doing and what I said in that last sale where she was like, okay, like let's sign up. And I said, no, not yet. But you have to have that confidence that, okay, I can say that and not worry, oh my God, are they going to go? But like people that we talk to here, they expect within the first 45 seconds to say, all right, go grab your Medicare card. Let me see. So when we get on the phone, they're like, do you need my Medicare? And I go, no. Why do I need that? We're just talking.
Yeah.
And people respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Because every call they're getting is, well, hi, Larry, what's your Medicare number? Let's see what we can do. Let's look
How
you
much
up
you
in our
paying?
system.
Right.
How much you paying?
Hey,
Yeah.
Jacob, Frank, can I see y'all out here?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, it's all us.
Y'all got it.
Oh,
I want
it's
to
the
talk to you about
girls.
something.
Lady out.
It's the girls' time.
Guru's Ladies Hour.
Okay.
We're the
All
drinks,
right.
right? We're at the
Really,
drinks.
yes.
We're gonna wrap this up now. Thank
Yeah.
you all for coming.
Yeah, there we go.
So one thing I do, which I was saying, he was talking about getting back to basics, which is being straightforward with people,
Right.
making them feel comfortable. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as a woman, we kind of have this nurturing thing about us that we can put people at ease. I tell people right away, I said, you know what, I treat people like they're my family, and if you were my family, I would want you to have really great guidance, and I would want you to know if there was all this good stuff out there for you that you earned, but also on the other side of that coin, which is if you really do have the best thing out there, I'm going to tell you, but then also want to give you some guidance even when we go that route.
Right.
So you're going to get taken care of either way.
Mhm.
And I feel this and I hear this sigh of relief. They feel so much better. They feel like, oh, good, whatever happens, I'm going to get taken care of. And I know that I have them in the palm of my hand. If
Right.
we get disconnected or we have a bad connection or they have to run off for an appointment, I feel very confident that they know that they need to come back to me.
Right.
They'll answer that call again because I'm the one that
Sorry.
they need to speak to and they want to speak to and to feel comfort. So that works for me. And that's just such a basic thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, earlier today I had someone, I mean, she must have thanked me 3 or 4 times during the conversation about, thank God I picked up the phone. I never answer these and I'm so glad. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
And,
a great reaction.
you know, thank Jacob when he got on and, you know, did his part as well. But she was so thankful. And the same thing it was, she was so confused about all the stuff she'd been hearing and reading, and it was just overwhelming her. And, you know, I just said, well, we're going to go step by step and we'll figure it out together. We'll figure out what you need. And then, you know, I wouldn't recommend anything. I said, no, we need to know. I don't even want to look at things without, what if they don't have your doctors in network or anything, or,
You pointed
know, I
that
wanna
out and
see-
she didn't even think about that.
right. So we went through all of that until by the time I found a plan, and then it just happened to be a company that she had been familiar with from her mom's
Mhm.
experience, which was wonderful. So it was like an extra bonus. But it was like, you know, she was so grateful for the help, and I know she understands she got the right plan for herself.
And she feels that.
Right, and she knows that, and she knows, you know, you don't have to change all the time, if your needs change, you break your leg and suddenly you need transportation now, then we should talk about, you call me, we're gonna find something that has more transportation than what you have, or whatever, you know. But unless your needs change, the new plans don't worry about what the ads are and whatever, there's no new plans until October.
Yeah, and
You
have to
call
tell
me,
them that.
you know, whatever. I mean, but I have someone like, she knows I'm taking care of her. It's that nurturing thing I think that sometimes we ladies can do.
And we take it through the call. You take it through from
Right.
the beginning through to the end. You know,
Right.
like for example, when like that lady didn't even think about maybe she should check if her doctors were in the network, and you brought
Right.
that up, and she's like, oh gosh, you know, she must have been thinking, well, obviously somebody who cares about me thought of this on their own, you know, that I didn't know to ask. Same way, which is when I start getting their doctors, I'll ask them, you know, what's the name of your primary care doctor? Do you like him or her? Oh, you do? You've been with him for 15 years and the one before that was terrible. Good. You know what? That's important. That's really important to me. So let's make sure whatever plan we choose, we'll let you continue. We won't interfere with that and let you
Right.
continue to see that really great doctor. Because
Yeah,
I never like to change people's doctors, you know, just like, no, this is how I'm going to treat you. And this is just how I treat people in general.
right.
So that they feel comfortable later on if they need to refer someone to me, that they know they're always going to get that same
Yeah.
wonderful treatment and
Yeah.
we'll just rave about you. So
Yeah, it's
yeah, and
important.
even in the end, I even closed up with that, like sometimes, how do you feel now? Do you feel better? Do you feel like this weight is lifted off your shoulders? Do you feel good about all the stuff you're getting? And I just kind of have them reiterate that back to me, parrot that back. Yes, I do. I feel so much better. So they're saying it to themselves. And they've just solidified for themselves, this is my girl. I'm your girl. You know,
Exactly.
I'm here. I call myself your Medicare guardian angel. They just love that. You
Yeah.
know, and it's true. So
Yeah,
people connect with that, but it's, you know, carrying it all the way through, being
yeah,
consistent and having that really good feeling and that you're not going to let anybody else steal them away or dupe them into something else. As soon as they see a commercial on TV, they're going to call you and ask you if it's true or not.
Right, right. Yeah, so that's important, I think. But yeah, I think, you know, this allows me to be me and still make sales.
Well, that's the thing. I've always felt if your heart is in the right place and you're not trying to scam people or lie to them, but you're trying to do what's best for them, the money's going to come.
Right.
Don't put the money first, because that's when you get desperate, and that's when people, you know, these beneficiaries, they hear that on the phone when these people call them.
Yeah.
And they're just hounding them because all they care about is getting that dollar.
I had somebody say that to me earlier. It was a gentleman. I couldn't figure out what plan he had, and he needed to go to MD Anderson. Well, they don't take Advantage plans, just period.
Right.
And I finally figured it out. He had been on an Advantage plan, but then he's on Medicare, but he went back on his wife's group health insurance. So he has both. He's paying for Medicare, but
Two
he's
primary insurance.
he doesn't have an Advantage plan anymore.
Right.
So he's on his wife's group health and Medicare. So that way he can go to MD Anderson because they take Medicare.
Yeah.
So Medicare is paying for it, and then his wife's group health is picking up the rest.
Right, depending on if it's less than 20 employees or more than 20 employees, which one's.
So, but he was like, "You're the first person that's actually sat here and listened to me." And he's like, "I know you can't help me, and you know you can't help me, but you're still talking to me." He goes, "I know you're not going to make any money off of me, but he's like, you're still talking to me." And I'm like, "Well, but why wouldn't I talk to you?"
Yeah.
And
It's so refreshing for him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and he's like, I said, "What?" Because I'm going to send you my information, and when you do need help, you know, I'm actually going to help you. And I said, and I would appreciate it if you know anybody or you have any friends that need help.
Right.
He's like, "Well, I'm absolutely going to pass on your information."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and all of a sudden, "Oh, I can't help you." Oh, click.
Right.
That's what
I know.
tell
I
me
can't
that they got hung
imagine.
up on. As soon as they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm on such and such," they click, and I'm like, "Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry that they did that to you."
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just not, and I say that that's not the kind of person I am. I'm not going to try to switch you to something just because I can.
Right.
I would not mess up
what we're all trying to
somebody's
change.
I would not mess up somebody's health care. Just,
Yes, I know.
I couldn't sleep at night.
No, I know. Me either.
Mhm.
Our moms raised us better.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And then
um,
like
them-
Jacob's.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I watched Jacob's thing where he says, you know, what did he say? My mom wouldn't let me come home for Thanksgiving if I did the wrong thing for my clients, you know, and you know that just kind of goes back to that we are really doing the right thing, and they need to kind of open up and trust us and know that we have their back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back, and the trust thing that we've all been talking about, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is build trust or whatever. I mean, multiple times during some of these conversations I've had where people are going, "Well, do you need my Medicare number?" I'm like, no, we don't need that. I mean, if we find something, I may need it then, but I don't yet. And, you know, where I'm telling, "Oh, no, I don't need your number. Thank you though," you know, or whatever, and we go on. But going through the steps, I think, is an important experience for the client, so they're understanding that we're coming through everything, all their situation. And, you know, sometimes while we're doing that, that's when they go, "You know, my sister in Ohio, blah, 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 blah." And I go, "Oh yeah, no, you should never call me because, you know, 2 years out, she very well could maybe get onto, you know, some supplement or something that can help her going forward." And, you know, where I've done, you know, like all the sisters in the family from different parts of the US, because they're all talking and they will save money or, you know, find a plan that they could be on where they could still see the doctors they wanted to see or whatever their need was. But just going through the steps and talking, that's when they come up with additional information that might be helpful. And if I can help more people, that's great. If it is only their information still, because then you know at the end you're finding the plan that's right for them. So,
Well, I think all of this proves something that Frank said to be correct, which is women are very successful in this field because we bring a different perspective than the guys do in general. This is just general terms, but and we've kind of all had this common consensus of you would come to it from this caring, warm, point of view, and I think people really respond to that. Whereas typically the guys are more of a, they take on more of a, I guess,
Salesy.
so maybe sometimes a salesy, but it works for them, or more of like I'm the director of this call. I'm directing in the right direction.
Where
a
we
little
walk
harsher
through them,
right?
with
A little,
them.
and it's not saying that obviously works for them, but I think we bring something different to the table that a lot of times, because they're it's a male-dominated field. And I think a lot of people are sometimes used to hearing men on the phone, and they hear something different on the phone that they're not used to. And I think sometimes women in the field, and you can probably attest to this, whereas sometimes it happens where women will, they're in a male-dominated field and they try to overcompensate by being more harsh than they normally are, or more bossy, or more pushy to try to compete. But I think all of us here, I feel very confident, all of us here don't feel that way. Maybe it's because of living life and realizing we don't have to do that to be successful. We just have to be ourselves and be warm and do the right thing. And we know that that'll come across effortlessly. And so, like I said, I think they're coming across a lot of men, and they're the way they do things and speak to them over the phone, and sometimes women who are a little overbearing because they're trying to compete with the men. And like I said, I think everything that we do works for us really well. That's why we're successful.
Yeah.
Well said. We are. We're going to be
I
number
like our
one.
atmosphere. I like our atmosphere here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good help each other.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
An amazing amount of resources here. I mean, the people, the knowledge that's here is amazing.
And not one
Yeah.
person is where they are because of just themselves. It's, we're successful because of sales support and each other, lifting each other up, and the things we've learned from each other, and people jumping on the call or helping look up something. Everybody they're a big part of everybody's success.
I've learned more in the last 6 weeks, I guess, or 2 months since I've been here than I did the whole 2.5 years I was with the previous company.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like,
Shall not be named.
I had no idea. And it's stuff that we need to know, but nobody ever. And I'm sure they must have heard me on the phone, and all the calls are recorded, not giving accurate information, but nobody ever said anything
Not
to
even
me.
reaching out to say, hey, you know what, that's not quite right.
That's
Or
not
you know
quite
what,
right.
there's an
Mhm.
easier way or a better way.
Yeah.
Right.
Where that comes from, whether it's because somebody learned something and they want to keep it all to themselves so they're the only one that's successful, or maybe they just feel like, I don't really care enough to share this with so-and-so. I don't know, but we don't have any of that here. I feel like as soon as somebody knows something, we're shouting it out and sharing it. Or I hear things that I say, because I'm a big creature of habit. I'll say the same things every time because it works.
Mhm.
And I'll hear other people saying it, or I'll hear something that I like and I'll incorporate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really awesome. We all take from
It's
each
so
other
important.
in a positive way, and nobody ever says, well, don't be saying my thing.
Yeah.
I like your thing.
But no, it's
Yeah.
great. It's really awesome.
So much better than working all by yourself at home.
Yeah.
We got somebody to celebrate our wins, and then exactly what you said. I've picked up a lot from Steven and other people that I hear things. I'm like, oh, I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to start using that, and it'll work.
Or sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I like what Jacob says, and I'll try and be like, no, that sounds all wrong.
That's
what
not
I
me.
say. So let's not. I'm not going to do that. I tried it. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. But sometimes it does.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Well, I'm ready to go back, but
Yeah,
I don't
so,
know
I
if they're gonna if there's a way to wrap it up.
Yeah, I
Too
guess
bad
so.
Jacob's not here.
Okay,
to
we're
say.
wrapping it up and
Let's see, for you, Victoria, you can
okay.
put that one in the park.
So what is this called? Like a podcast? Yeah, well, I don't know what to call it, but our live feed with the Guru Gals. That's what
That's
we're
really Guru Gals. That's us.
Okay. Hopefully you guys learned a lot, And obviously, if you want to join us, as Frank says, please reach out, come visit us, take a look at what we have to offer, and
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep, we're good. Back on the phone.
Yeah.
Let's make some money. Help some people.
All right.